Good afternoon, everybody, or depending on what part of the world you're in, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Fall to Rise podcast. I'm your host, James Brown. You have no idea how good it feels to say that again. For those of you that have been following this show, you know that I've been going for about a year from this show. I have been on other podcasts. I've been on another show called the Extreme Truth Podcast, but I took time off because I've been working with my youth group. So I'm back, and it feels so good to just be back and to just talk again. Today's show is going to be such a unique topic because it's something that really hit home with me, something that I've really been feeling about talking about. Today, I have the privilege of having my buddy, my brother and sister, Nguru Maina, and his wife Zanele Nguru back from Nairobi, Kenya. Hey, brother, how are you?
Hi, how are you doing? Hi, everybody. So Zanele will be joining us in a bit.
Sure.
But at the moment, it's me, Nguru Maina.
Yes, sir. So we have Nguru, then we have my other brother, High Chief. I only know you by Jason. So I need you to explain to us, what's your proper African name, brother?
My proper African name is Ifeanyi Orisha Tola. Chief Ifeanyi Orisha Tola.
Chief Ashai. Okay. Can you say it again? I'm going to make sure that I can say it correctly.
Chief Ifeanyi.
Okay.
Orisha Tola.
Got it. Okay. Well, welcome, brothers, and soon to be sisters.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Today, this will be the latest installment of our African versus African American Bridging the Gap series. But tonight's topic is sort of unique and a bit controversial. We're going to discuss African spirituality versus American religion. You know, that's one thing that they say that we should never talk about. Never talk about religion. Why? Why? Because people may get spirited. Being spirited is a good thing. So today, we're going to really delve into what African spirituality is and what American religion really is. Unfortunately, I have experts on the show that will be able to speak to this. So the first question that I'm going to ask my guest is, what is African spirituality? So we're going to start with my brother, the High Chief. What exactly, from your perspective, is African spirituality?
African spirituality is our natural essence, pre-colonial slavery, where our roots come from. That's, to me, that's Black African spirituality, or where we come from in Africa, and actually beyond Africa, but our roots as far as spirituality and, of course, religion.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And brother Nguru, what is your view? Because you're actually in Africa, so your view may be slightly different. What is your view on African spirituality, on exactly what it is?
Thank you, brother. So,
Yes,
in my view, African spirituality is actually who we are, who I am, who you are. And it's our way of life, it's our culture. It's realizing that we have God and we have other beings in between and us. It's actually life. It's something you cannot differentiate. You cannot differentiate or divide between me and my spirituality.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. That's so ironic that you said that spirituality is life. I've never heard it described that way, because normally when you think of a spirit, that's someone that's passed on. That's someone that's no longer living. That's a tradition that no longer exists. So to describe it as life, that's so unique. And that's something that I am definitely going to unpack later. So we're actually going to start with my good brother, the High Chief, my dear brother. I have a few questions for you because your perspective is so unique because you're American born. You were born here in this country, and you actually were not always into African spirituality.
Correct.
You actually subscribe to American religion.
Correct. Yeah, I was raised Pentecostal, like most African Americans. We're Baptist, Pentecostal. And I was raised that way. Of course, from my grandmother, my mother, and I went to church every Sunday. And my perspective of church and religion, especially in Pentecostal churches, they speak in tongues, and you catch the Holy Ghost, and people, they dance and shout, and so as I got older, I started learning other things. There was more to life than that. I started branching off to other religions. I took my Shahada, and I practiced Islam. I'm a Muslim as well. But it didn't stop short there. I still search for more answers to questions that I had. I'm a dreamer, and I see things, and and these things I had no explanation for. Islam couldn't teach me, or the Pentecostal church couldn't teach me, or give me the answers that I was looking for. So I tapped into metaphysical sciences and to answer some of my questions, but my thirst for knowledge and who God really is wouldn't let me stop there. But of course, in life, younger, I had vices, things that held me back. In any religion you're in, womanizing and alcohol consumption, and these are things that deter you from, excelling high in your religion. And it was the day when I stopped doing those things that I found God. God was always there for me. Like I said, I'm a dreamer, so I see things that most people, as I start speaking to, most people don't really dream, or if they do, they don't remember them. And so my perspective of God expanded once I stopped drinking, and I was introduced to my first African traditional religion by the way of voodoo. Okay. And I became, knowledgeable in that, and then it expanded from there. God, my perspective of God, since the metaphysical science was introduced to me, I realized that God has many attributes. He's not, how most religions, not to offend anybody, how most religions just put one God and that's it. But God is everything and everybody. Like my brother said, it's life. He's life. He's this is God's existence. And all these spirits that that some people worship are deities in any religion, African traditional religion, whether it's voodoo or Ifa, the Orisha, or the Lawa. These spirits are attributes of God. And so, from when I was introduced to the first one, and it just kept on going. So I'm a chief of course, Ifa, and I'm also a chief. I'm also a priest in 3 or 4 other different African traditional religions. So my perspective of life and of course of religion is God is one, but God is many. God is just, he's many. He's many attributes, and that's where it took me. And actually I'm still learning more. And because like religion, it's a guideline, of course, to practice a structured lifestyle that is conducive to advancement, spiritual advancement in each in our lives. But we get caught up in life, and sometimes we need guidance.
Yeah, Yeah, there's so much to unpack that you just said. I actually just had to take notes because I have so many questions. You mentioned the term metaphysical science a few times. What exactly is that?
Metaphysical science is the science of phenomenon outside of our physical realm. Not to go too deep right now, but we vibrate in the 3.5 dimensional view. And there's other dimensions always going up, going back to heaven. But all these different dimensions, we vibrate in different frequencies in these different dimensions. And in our physical existence, we vibrate in the 3.5 dimensional view. So there's things and there's actually beings, spirits, or other entities that vibrate outside of our own frequency. Sometimes we pass along with these people, these different entities. We see them at the corner of our eyes. Weird phenomenon. Sometimes you might have some people might go into a house and they get a chill up their spine. Then you find out somebody had passed away there. But these are metaphysical things. And metaphysics science is just phenomenon outside of our dimension.
Wow.
In a nutshell.
Okay.
And
okay, so it's almost like vibes. It's kind of the way that, especially if you look at a lot of Black culture, there's a lot of, this doesn't feel right. We feel things. We communicate with those that passed along, that these are our older traditions and we don't know where they came from. So in essence, it almost sounds like that's our ancient connection to metaphysical science that we've been, what's the proper word? I guess that I can say that we've been trained to not follow or understand.
Correct. Yeah, because that's our birthright, especially African Americans or Africans, anybody who's African descent, and not just African descent. We can't forget our natives. Our natives they're Black too. And we're tapped into something else that most cultures aren't. And we kind of turn our blind eye to these things, and these things are our birthright. We are very spiritual beings that where we interact in all realms, depending on how far do you want to go down a rabbit hole to advance yourself spiritually. But these initiations that we go through, they pretty much they blend the body with the spirit. And that's where you get the word rites of passage. And through these initiations, we let our higher selves manifest into our physical lower self, into this physical reality. And thus the term as above, so below. And now, because all we are at the end of the day, we're vessels for the higher self to manifest, or the attribute of God to manifest into a physical world. That's all we're here to do. We're here to let God manifest through us as an attribute. And everybody has the ability. It's just how far and how dedicated and how disciplined are you willing to go.
Wow. Well, there's something that you mentioned about the fact that you quit drinking and you changed your lifestyle, and that's what allowed you to access God. Do you feel that that's one of the things that's holding us back from stepping into, I guess, our true God self? Is our lifestyle, diet, things that we're engaging in, and the things that we're choosing to listen to or believe?
Absolutely. In order to vibrate, to raise your vibration, of course, I know people have learned that, they can raise their vibration through exercise, through prayer, through meditation. But our diets, the sugars, the not so great diets, junk food, it slows you down. Really, the less you eat, the more that you can vibrate and raise your raise into your higher self. But definitely our diet, our lifestyles, drinking, fornication, too much sex, can lower your vibration, amongst other things. That not just lower your vibration, but sex can also, we are is energy. So through sex you can swap energies, and which is another topic. But yeah, definitely diet, definitely the things that we choose to do, drugs and alcohol definitely lower your vibration and keep you bound to the earth instead of you ascending and getting into your higher self.
Okay. Well, the question that everyone's going to ask is, you said too much sex is bad. So how much is too much? Asking for a friend.
Balance. You gotta learn balance.
Okay.
Everything in moderation. Too much anything will hurt you. And that's also, being too much of a kind person, too much of a nice guy. Mm-hmm. Not saying you're supposed to be, a jerk some days and a nice guy, but you got to have a balance in between both. Too much of anything will it's not good for you.
Okay, perfect. Now, there's something that you mentioned. You said that you were a High Chief Ifa. What were the rest of your titles? I'm sorry.
Orisha Tola.
Okay, can you explain what those are?
Well, I'm a High Ifa religion. I'm a chief in Ifa.
Okay.
And I'm also a chief Olorisha or Obatala.
Obatala. Okay, and what is an Obatala? Is that almost like a chief, or?
Well, Obatala is an Orisha in the Yoruba culture that created humans, especially brains, human heads. And he's actually he's one of the first creator beings. He's the sky father of the Yoruba traditional religion of the Orisha. And like I said, he's the creator of humans, of human heads and humans, brains especially, but humans.
Oh wow!
On Earth, and he actually lived as a man. That's why I said, like, we all have disabilities of being attributes of God. Like I said, Obatala, even though he's an Orisha, a spirit deity, an aspect of God, he also lived as a man on Earth.
Wow. So I guess you're saying that when we ascend, we have almost like jobs, or we get
Correct.
promotions.
Yeah, and it's funny that you said that. Yes, that's how it works on the spirit side. The spirit, the physical world mimics the spirit side. So when you come to Earth and you have a physical incarnation, depending on how well you do, they have your lessons, and then you could pick up karma and other things. But if you do well, you graduate. Your advancement is in the spirit, not on Earth. Earth is just the trial or the marketplace. You come here, you learn your lesson. Depending on how well you do, you go to the spirit realm and you move up. You get a promotion on that side as well. You might, eventually move up to be a spirit guide or whatever. But your primary goal is to make it back to heaven. Return from which you came. That's our primary goal on Earth, is to return from which we came. We descend to ascend.
Wow. Okay. All right. Now, how long have you actually been into spirituality?
I've been into African traditional spirituality for about 4 years.
4 years. Okay.
But like I said, I studied metaphysical science for about 15 years. And I had I started reading books on metaphysical science. I had a past life regression under hypnosis, and that kind of would change my life. You know what I mean? I had that. I went down, and I never been hypnotized before in my life, so I was curious about it. I read books on it, and I said, you know what, let me try it. And I found out information about myself that changed my life. That was one of the first steps, and that's like right after I started practicing Islam. I told you Islam wasn't enough for me, and I was going to Jumar, and I was making salat, prayer, but it was things that I needed answers to, questions that I needed answers to, and Islam it didn't provide all my answers to my questions. So metaphysical science is what took me there, and I learned a lot behind that, and I had a past life reading, and it told me a little bit about myself, who I was outside of this costume that we wear. This is a costume. So outside of this,
almost like avatars or the Matrix.
That's exactly what we are.
Oh wow.
We are avatars to come into a physical existence. You know, we come through the fontanelle of the baby's head, was the soft spot, and we merge with the nervous system. You know, about 7 years old, if it seals over, then we have our sojourn. That's why a lot of children have imaginary friends till about 7 years old, or they go into a lot of REM sleep where they have like sleep paralysis.
Wow. Yeah, I've actually had that before. It's not fun. It's definitely not fun having that sleep paralysis, but wow, that actually opens something up.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Now, I see that you saw that you were searching for something. Do you feel that you found through African spirituality what you've been searching for?
Yes.
Okay.
I found the true meaning of the Creator, and I found who I am, and I found my purpose in this life.
Oh wow. Okay. It's so interesting that we're talking about African spirituality and American religion, because anyone that knows me knows that I'm a bit of a history buff. So I study the way that Africans and even Black Americans or African Americans, most of us even converted to what I call the Western religion. So Christianity, Islam. If we take a look at historically, you had missionaries that came through and they pretty much in essence offered silver or lead. So either bow down before our God and join us, or we'll kill you or sell you into slavery. And so it's so ironic that that's actually what's with a lot of us knowing that tradition, that a lot of us still subscribe to many of those beliefs and don't take the time to figure out what our beliefs were before we were forced to come here and lose our culture.
Right. Yeah, it's you know, there's a term that you know, without getting into the slave trade, but there's a term that they you know, because all the religions started, you know, Christian religion started out from Catholicism, and it was a thing, you know, that they call manifest destiny, and that was their words of saying that they can go around the world and just turn people into their faith, and without that they can kill them, and they have the right by God to do it, and which is, you know, which is a hypocrisy in itself. You know, you shouldn't have to force anybody or put a, you know, force them to either die for your religion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this was, like I said, this was a period of time during that time that we, you know, we descended as a culture. You know, everything's about learning here. So we, you know, we had to go into a dissension in order to really learn who we are. And because that, you know, our civilization, our culture has been in, you know, we are the starters or you want to say the beginners of civilization, culture, period. You know, African culture outdates any other culture. And so being that we were at the driver's seat, you might want to say, of civilization for so long, it was, I guess, our turn for us to descend. And of course, this goes with astrology and astrological things that happen in our galaxy, in the Milky Way galaxy. You know, it works just as well as our seasons on Earth. We got winter, spring, summer, and fall. And when we go through our galaxy, it works the same. So we were in a dark part of our galaxy for like the last 10,000 years. We were in with the Egyptians, a Kemetic science called Amen. We were in Amen sleep mode for 10,000 years, but now we're coming out. We're going into another constellation. Each constellation is about 2,500 years. Now we're coming into Aquarius. We came out of Pisces. Now we're coming into Aquarian, and now Aquarian part of our galaxy has big bright star systems. So everything is becoming light. We're coming into Ra, and so that's why everybody's awakening now, because the energies are changing. The energies are changing. Now we have to go back to where we were at a period of time where we were at the heightening of spirituality, and it's coming into a shift where there's no in between anymore. You either have to raise your vibration to be spiritual, or you have to go and try it again another lifetime, or go to another place that your body, or excuse me, your spirit is compatible with in another incarnation. So we're at a very pivotal point in our history, in our culture now. because there's a splitting going on. You can feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel it. Like I said, a lot of people are tapping into it.
Yeah.
You know, meditation, Reiki, all these different, Ifa, all these different religions and just culture as itself. Before, I know when we was growing up, it was kind of like taboo. Like you didn't want, I had African friends, but a lot of people like, oh, scared or maybe embarrassed to even go into their African culture. Nowadays, it's a part of mainstream now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so things are changing.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm gonna swing it over to Zanele and then Guru, and trust and believe, High Chief, we will be back to you in a second.
No problem.
My brother and sister Zanele and then Guru, how are you doing?
Hi everyone. Hi brother. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you all.
Yes, definitely good to see you as well. You know what's
Yeah.
so weird, when I interview you two, it almost doesn't feel like I'm doing an interview because we've done this so many times. We're just having a conversation at this point. So so for those of you that don't know, this is just how we talk to each other. It's almost like we're just having a conversation. So yeah, you two are actually coming all the way. You're coming to us from Nairobi, so you're actually at, and that's just like ground zero for our African culture. You're connected with our energy source, literally. You stick your feet in the soil, you're feeling our energy source. I just got to ask, what does that feel like?
Does it feel different, really? When you've grown up in such an environment, you've lived here all your life, I don't think there's any difference, really. The only difference that I can say is that with our little travels within the African continent, you do feel the difference when you get out of your comfort zone within Nairobi. So, for example, you're in Rwanda, there's new culture, different ways in which people relate with you, in which people do things within their own, countries. So for that, when you go out, that's when you feel the difference in energy. That's when you need to adapt. That's when you actually remember that, I come from a different energy of which I now have to adapt to this different, energy within me. So I think for me, that's when the difference really comes in, but it doesn't feel any difference.
I can actually attest to that because I was in a bad place energy-wise, emotionally, while I've been away from everyone, while I was taking my little sabbatical from the show, and I left the country. I went out to the Dominican Republic, and it's almost as if as soon as I left American soil, American airspace, I felt the difference. Everything that I was stressed about literally left, and I could not stop myself from smiling. I was literally looking out of the window of my plane and I smiled. And I know that the person next to me must have thought that I was crazy because I just couldn't stop smiling. And then when I landed, I got even happier. I got filled with more joy. I got filled with a sense of being home. And this wasn't even in Africa. This was just in the Dominican Republic. So I can imagine what it's going to be like when I get out to Africa. I'm really going to feel that feeling of just being home. And I'm excited for it. I am so excited for it. Yes.
We're hoping that once you come, you'll be able to feel the feeling that you've been looking for. But I can tell you, Nairobi may not be your place to be. You need out in the nature because.
Okay. Wait, did you freeze? You may have frozen.
That's where in the quietness, that's where you connect with.
Okay.
Are we back?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. I'm saying you need that quietness because with that quietness is when you can connect with your spirit. That's when you can feel that feeling that you are yearning for. But in Nairobi, it's so chaotic. I guess it's not the same. But what I can say is I may not
froze for a second.
Tell the difference. We've been raised in this culture of a foreign spirituality or religion, because I can say African spirituality is not a religion.
Mhm.
And that's why I said it's
Oh, you froze. It sounds like you were trying to say it's life.
when you are born up until
Okay.
are we back?
We got you back. Yes.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is the reason that I say African spirituality is life is because it's before you are born, when you are born, the way you live, and after you die. It's all that, and it's inclusive of how you relate with nature, and your understanding that there's God, and our ancestors, our elders, our parents come before you. So you get to appreciate all that. You also get to appreciate that everything that you see, anything that you say, it's living. It doesn't matter if it's a goat, if it's a cow, if it's a tree, it's living. Yeah, and the way you relate with everything determines how you're going to live. You might have seen maybe Zulu shamans talking about the importance of water. If you want your prayer to be remembered, if you want something to be remembered for eternity, you tell it to the water, because water will forever remain.
Really? Wait, so okay, let me make sure that I have this right. So we should go to water, or I
Yeah.
guess commune with nature if we want our prayers to, in essence, be heard or answered.
I say water. Water.
Water.
You talk to the water.
Okay.
You say water.
Water. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the importance of nature. For example, in African spirituality, the importance of sacrifices, and sacrifices are not limited to uh, pouring. What do you say? Um, pouring something for your ancestors. What is it called?
A libation.
Yeah, pouring libation, or
Yes.
slaughtering an animal, or even
I don't know. Somebody's trying not to let us hear what you're
sex
saying.
is in itself. So my brother was talking about energy in the sexual intercourse.
Mhm.
And in African spirituality, if you delve in it very well, a woman was only allowed to be married to one man, or to have only one sexual partner, as similar to a man. But a man could be polygamous, but
Mhm.
only them who are connected together, because in it you share, or you pass through some spirits, some
Mhm.
spiritual connection, some energy. And
Mhm.
this is the most important energy in African spirituality, because this is where we all come from.
Mhm.
So it's God after creation who gave us the power to create.
Mhm.
You get. Yeah,
Mhm.
so this is very sacred. This is, in fact, in my Kikuyu spirituality. Kikuyu is a tribe in Kenya, and the biggest in Kenya. And in our spirituality, this is the most respected and the most important ritual. So
Mhm.
it's not something you play around with it.
Mhm.
And the reason I saw
Mhm. Uh, I think you may
you
have.
pass energy. So someone with yeah, that's someone who has collected a lot of spirits in their own life.
Mhm.
So it's some you I don't know if we can even
Mhm.
understand what that person is carrying around with
Mhm.
them, because imagine every person has their own energy from their own uh, pedigree, their own descent, the line of descendants, and now
Mhm.
these are different spirits that are brought into one person. So which, when brought together, messes up the person. So that's one. But in it, there are other rituals that occur during the life of a person. And
Mm.
I know in Nigeria they used to call them like
Uh-oh.
or stages, and
Mhm.
it's by your up until a certain age where, for example, when a child is born, there's a goat that is slaughtered.
Really?
Yeah, that goat is slaughtered in my culture. It's slaughtered
Mm,
for the child
mhm,
to, because now the skin was normally used for for carrying that child, but
mhm,
still the goat is used to to feed the mom so that the mom can
mm.
regain her strength.
Okay.
Then as the child grows, there are other rituals that are conducted. You know, there's the circumcision or
Mm,
initiation. Now this child is coming from childhood to adulthood. Then there's marriage. And you know,
mm,
marriage now, when you know, we pay dowry. And with
mm,
dowry, it goes steps. And all these are very important rituals that
mm,
one goes up
mm,
to now. You are married, you have children, now you start doing their own rituals. At some point you become a shaman or a priest, you know.
mhm,
They are different for different people up
mm,
until death. And after death there is a ritual that will be conducted by your children to
mm,
now assist you or cross you to the land of the spirits. So you become an
mm,
ancestor. And now
mm,
when you're there, now you guide us who are living in
mm,
dreams or in visions and other things. So
mm,
in African spirituality, although a lot of people have lost this because we now drift in Christianity or Islamic, and we lost this. People are
mm.
able to communicate with the people who are gone, who went before,
Now that was
who
a
slept.
question. That was actually a question I was going to ask because that was something that I've always been interested in.
Yeah.
Here in America, you have to hire like a psychic or a medium to communicate with someone that's passed on. Uh, how do we tap into that or access that ability to be able to speak with our ancestors that have passed on?
So to reach this certain energy or have this kind of power, you need to be
Distraction.
clean, clean. Yeah, like
Mm,
ratios. Let me use that.
mhm,
Like you need, because through the years and us not knowing our spirituality, we've messed a lot. I can tell
mm,
you, if I was brought up in African spirituality, I would have gone through all these rituals. But
mhm,
now I never went through all these rituals and training, because during the life of a young African, there are a lot of trainings that he or she underwent step by step, as as age increased. And that was the reason why even in marriage you would not hear commotions or chaos, because these people are brought up in spirituality, in what we can say culture, and they have been taught a lot of things. But now for us, we've been brought up in a foreign spirituality that some things we do are not clean, or they are not ritually righteous in in maybe the face of our African spirituality. So we are messed up. And the more you have been messed up, the farther you are from your ancestors, because they don't want to come close to someone who is not clean. So to be able to do this, you need to undergo a lot of rituals,
okay.
cleanse cleansing. Yeah, so we do cleansing. Then
Mhm,
for example, I'll give you an example of a young boy.
mm,
If a young boy goes to a forest
mhm,
and something bad might happen,
mhm,
this young boy will start feeling very scared. He might tell you, I am so scared. But for you, because because for the boy, it's because the ancestors are trying to warn him from inside. Sometimes we say the hair stands still and the child will have goosebumps and all that. But for you, it might not happen because of
Mm.
the mess that it's been through. So your ancestors are a bit away from you. But
Mm.
so you need to cleanse yourself to be like that kid,
Mhm.
someone who doesn't have all these curses bestowed on him, someone
Mm.
who has done a lot of bad things,
Mm.
So what we do here before you get there, you need to go to a shaman or a priest
Mm.
who will be able to communicate with your ancestors just by
Mm.
asking. I don't know how they do it, but they will tell you things that are happening in your home that you are aware of and also that you are not aware of. So what you do is you go to your family, the elder will tell you whether what happened and they will advise you on what to do.
Mm.
So that is before now you get to your to be able to use that power.
Mm.
Yeah. Yes. So you still need to go to the priests.
Well, we actually have one. So, High Chief, is this a capability that you have, or is this something that you learned how to do, or that you have experience with
You,
learning about?
you're born with it.
Okay. Wait, when you said that
Yeah.
we may need a priest to, I guess, help to cleanse us, and we fortunately have one here. So, brother High Priest, is this something that you have experience with?
Yes. Yeah. You remember I had discussed the rites of passage. So
Mhm.
through the rites of passage, you gain access to be a diviner or oracle. So you can divine with either your ancestors, which is in African culture, egungun, or
Mhm.
you can, or in America they call them egun. The egun is like your immediate family that died, and you always
Mhm.
venerate them, you always honor them. But egungun is your forefathers going back to the beginning of time on Earth through your bloodline,
Mhm.
and that's another topic of honoring your bloodline, honoring your
Yeah.
ancestors, breaking family curses. But yeah, definitely through rites of passage, I have gained to do oracle as a Babalao. I do divining with uh, either Ikin or through Opele.
Mhm.
These are tools of a Babalao.
Mhm.
And I, also but I had also initiated. I had to be honest, in the religion, I had initiated in two different sets of Ifa. I had initiated which is Way of Cuba, which is Lukumi. They had changed the
Mhm.
name Ifa to Lukumi in Africa to Cuba via slave trade. But I also initiated Isheshe in Nigeria. But nonetheless, as a Babalao, the divining is still the same. But some of the other divining, you can divine with speak to the oracle, speak to your ancestors, what they're called chamalangos,
Mhm.
or you can use different tools as far as cowrie shells.
Mhm.
And cowrie shells in the ancient times in Africa were used as currency.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I never knew that. Wow. All right. Okay. All right.
But yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I'm as a initiated and as a priest, that I have the ability to divine or through oracle
Mhm.
and through ancestors.
Well, we're gonna come back to that. I promise we're definitely gonna come back to that one. Uh, and Guru, I'd spoken with you probably about a week ago, and you told me that at one point you actually were Christian. You didn't really follow or subscribe to African religions as much. Uh, First off, what was that conversion like, and why did you convert?
I cannot call it a conversion because
Mhm. You froze.
most of us in Africa are raised up as back.
Mhm.
So most of us in Africa either raised as Christians or Muslims, because with the coming of Christianity, and at first it was forced.
Mhm.
Then the people who came after now are all brainwashed in such a way that they could not remember where they
Mm. Wow. You said that they can't remember where they
so
came from?
also, let me say this. In
Mhm.
Africa, there are things, yeah. So there are things that have remained. For example, dowry payment in marriage and circumcision. They've remained.
Okay.
So in those two, mostly those two, everybody will have to go through them. So at least you are kind of 10% inside the spirituality. But when I was growing up, I was raised as a Christian, but my dad was more of uh, an African spiritual. So he taught me things which, which as I grew, I became
You froze.
very interested in. And
Mhm.
let me say
Mhm.
6 years. Okay, I'm saying 6 years ago.
Mhm.
6 years ago, I decided to look for my spirituality because I had come to see a lot of things happening which I could not understand, and I needed to maybe understand better. So a friend of me took me to a priest, and that's where I started learning. And I felt so good. I've never
Mhm.
felt at home like I
Mhm.
am now. I'm so free. I feel so good. Sometimes, you now understand that you can talk to your ancestors and
Mhm.
you are not scared, because in Christianity, it kind of you are taught uh, talking to the dead is wrong.
Mhm.
But in African spirituality, you are encouraged to invite your ancestors in your life. And that's the only time you now understand, because in African spirituality, we say people don't die. And if you say people or someone died, they died before their time. But people sleep. They sleep. They only
Mhm.
transit into another dimension, which is
Mhm.
unseen. Like you cannot see it with your eyes, but they are there. They can listen to you. They can intercede for you. All those
Mhm.
things. And in Christianity, you see them talking about saints, and they pray to the saints to pray for them.
Mhm.
But the only difference is when I talk to my ancestors to pray for me or to intercede to God for me, it's
Mhm.
closer because my ancestors know me.
Mhm.
So
Mm.
yeah, I can say it's never felt good. I now understand a lot of things, and I understand life better than I did. I'm not scared of life.
Mhm.
I'm now living a free life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Zanele, were you also in the same situation? Were you born or I guess younger in life? Did you subscribe to Western religions like Christianity or Islam, or have you always embraced or lived your life by African spirituality?
That is a complicated one, yeah. So, growing up, I come from Swaziland, which is in the southern part of Africa, for those who may not know. So, wherever I come from, we still have our cultural beliefs. We are very much rooted to culture and traditions. So, I understand it deeply, deeply than maybe Mburu. When I got here in Kenya, they were still like blinded about the whole African spirituality. So, for me, it's never been a new thing. Growing up, I've grown up knowing and knowing and understanding what African spirituality is. Maybe I didn't give my own definition of what I think it is. So wherever I come from in Swaziland, I think for most of us it is the acknowledgement of beliefs, of cultural practices that were before us, which our ancestors lived by, and us acknowledging that this is the way of us to connect with God or the creator or the superior being, whoever you want to call him. So African spirituality for us has always been there. I've always been aware, and I grew up in a very Christian family, of which everybody at home is still a Christian. I still see myself as a Christian, really, because I cannot say that I have transcended to the other part of African spirituality. It's just that I understand it better and deeper. And it has never affected my other side of knowing God through Christianity. So it's just for me, I think that's why I'm saying it's a bit of a complication, really, because there's just two parts of me that know both sides. And growing up in both of them and being fortunate to be, open-minded about both sides, I still find it complicated. Sometimes I question some things in African spirituality, and I always question Christianity. So I'm still trying to understand where are we, which is the right path for me, not for anybody, because everybody has their own beliefs. You can never argue with somebody's beliefs. So that's where I am when it comes to spirituality and Christianity and everything.
It's so unique because you would assume that being that you're in Africa, you're in the motherland, you're from the part of the world where a lot of our spirituality comes from. It appears as if Africa just embraces Western religions so much more than African spirituality. Why do you think that is?
Okay.
I think it's the brainwashing, really. It all goes back to colonialization, how everything was, removed from our culture, our history, and things like that. I'll still go back to my case of Swaziland, where I come from. So for us, the king, during the time of colonization and all things like that, during that period, he made sure that whatever you do to us, we are not changing the way of our way of life, our culture. So he really, really held that strong. His beliefs were so strong that he even had no negotiation with the white people. So he was like, you are giving us this, and we have this, which is ours. The only thing we can take from you guys is what we see as good, okay? And for those who don't want to take that, let them remain. So I think that is how it remained for generations to generations. Now we are very fortunate to have, background of who we are as the Swazi people. We never lost touch with our ancestors or the way of connecting with God as our ancestors did. So I think really it goes back to colonization and how they really tried to brainwash us and to remove everything that we know or everything that we were to know about our ancestors' way of living.
Okay. Now it's so crazy because when we often talk about just the condition of Black Americans, Africans, Black people across the world, it hasn't been great for us for the past few centuries. Do you feel, and this is actually a question for all three of you, and even the members of the audience, you can actually type that in the chat. Do you feel that us moving away from our African customs and or spirituality has actually hurt us as a race or as a people?
Yes, it has, definitely.
Okay.
Because
Can I just go first? Definitely. Like what I'm saying. Okay, sorry, Jay.
Okay. All right. Zanella and Guru.
Yeah. Living our spirituality has done a lot of mess in our society, in our communities, because what I understand is when you live your spirituality, your ancestors also drop you. These are the people who are between you and God. These are the people who guide you in every day. They protect you. We call them our army. So when you leave them, it's like you say, I don't want you and anything to do with you. And they also do the same to you. So you are left alone. That's why we say you find most of the people going through a lot of bad things which they don't understand, only to realize that it's because they ditched their way of life.
Okay. All right. Now, I don't know. Is that one of you? Yeah, I'm sorry.
It
Mhm.
also leaves us to that vulnerability of being influenced by anything that comes to us. Like
Mhm.
what is currently happening in Africa, and this is something that it's a trend in most African countries. In my country, in Kenya, it's something that is trending. They are
Mhm.
bringing their ways of living, which they think are the right way to go. I don't know if I
Mhm.
can mention it here because sometimes they just block you if you talk about such issues like the
Mhm.
LG, whatever. Um,
Mhm.
this is something that is currently being sold to African countries, like presidents,
Mhm.
kings, and whatever are advocating for this. And this is nowhere near African spirituality. So things
Mhm.
like that, if you really know who you are as an African, your beliefs, you believe in whatever your ancestors' way of life, you would
Mhm.
definitely know that this is not right for me to, to even consider being part of. But wherever we are right now, because we are not so much embedded into our cultures and our traditions and our spirituality, it's easy to say, by the way, this is the trend nowadays. You guys are still backwards. This is how life should be nowadays. So it's easy
You froze again.
for to be diverted or to be, swayed.
Okay, you keep freezing, and there's somebody beeping. I don't know who's beeping.
Mm.
Yes, someone's beeping, but yeah, I got you. I got you. It's such an interesting thing because one of the things that we did talk about was again feeling that we turned away from our African spirituality and customs, and even everyone in the chat they kind of agreed with that. There's something that I was speaking with Nguru about a couple of days ago about Haiti, because again I was in the Dominican Republic, so I was right next to Haiti, and pretty much everyone knows about a lot of the issues that are happening in Haiti. But Haiti's also one of the most resource rich places in the world. And they were also one of the first, I guess, predominantly black countries to kick out their colonizers and end slavery. I don't know. Did we lose Nguru? And I think we may have lost them. Oh no, I think we have them back. So they were one of the first countries to defeat France. They were the first country to defeat France. France was a superpower. There was no one that could defeat them. And small, tiny Haiti defeated them, which is almost unheard of. Now, when I speak to people that are in a spiritual world, they tell me that the Haitians had some help in defeating the French. It wasn't just the Haitian military. That the Haitians used some of the customs or spirituality or even help from our ancestors to defeat the French. Are either Nguru, Zanele, or Brother High Chief able to expound upon that?
Yeah. Well, my experience, like I mentioned before, I first initiated into voodoo. So my godmother was from Haiti, and
Okay.
so yeah, they were the actually without uh Haiti freeing themselves, we would still be slaves.
Wow.
Because not only did they free us, Saint Jack Dessalin, invoked by the deities, the Haitian deities or the voodoo deities, they overthrew them with machetes and knives and sticks. And at that time, they were the strongest. The French were the strongest army in the world. Napoleon. Uh, so, being that, not only did they free themselves, but they went around the world and they freed slaves, where they paid 3-4 times each slave that they were worth at that time. And this is why, to this day, because of that spirituality, that strong spirituality that's there, they have the Haitians get a bad name, and they this is, without getting into a conspiracy theories, this is why they're in the place they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Because even after that, they had to get taxed
Yeah.
by the French to this day.
Yeah. I actually read about that that they were taxed by the French. They were also taxed by other countries that came to allegedly help them.
Right.
And that's part of why they're still having the issues that they're having. Zanele and Guru, do you have anything on this one? Did we lose you? I hope that we didn't. I hope that we didn't lose you. We may have. Yeah, they're reconnecting. Yeah, this is actually it's actually interesting to even talk about that, because we often hear the story of Toussaint Louverture, Dessalines, and them defeating Napoleon, that small country defeating Napoleon. Okay, we got Zanele and Nguru back. Have you heard anything about this, or what are your views on this, on the French using, I guess, our spirituality, our magic, the ancestors to defeat one of the largest superpowers in the world? And do you feel that them doing that is contributing to the issues that they're having now?
So let me comment on the Haiti people using our spirituality to beat the French. I think this was the best thing, and this is something to learn from, because this is what we should be doing today. So if anybody has tried looking at the Benin voodoo spirituality, you will see things that happen. For example, there's this thing they call Zangbeto. Zangbeto is something that is like a code.
You froze again. Every time you're getting ready to say something really good, you freeze. I don't know how that keeps happening, but every time you're saying something really, really good, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but let's just say that that's really weird that you keep freezing every time you say something really interesting. You froze. I'm pretty sure you'll be back in a second. I can still see that you're here, but yeah, that's an interesting. I see that everyone started nodding their head when they said we need to start embracing that again. It's almost in essence as if there's a new conscious community out now. We just have to make sure that it's not bastardized. That's one of the things that I always say to people, because in this old saying in our community, all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the duality, with these spiritualities and what you call magic or phenomenon, it can, it's the polarity of using it for negative and positive. Those things are there as well. With great responsibilities, with great powers, great responsibility. So, that's another thing. That's another topic that not only digging into these spiritualities, but learn to be responsible with them.
Yeah. Hang on 1 second. Yeah, it's now here's the question. Do you feel that maybe Haiti got away from their spirituality, and that maybe that's why they're having the issues that they're having there and have been having for centuries?
Yeah, it's a combination, I think. It's a combination, see, you got to understand these religions or spirituality, you might say, they're for African descents.
Sure.
And when Westerners, because behind closed doors, the Westerners are initiating these things as well, and they're learning them. I think Bill Clinton had went down and initiated when he was having his health issues, and that's when you start bringing other Western cultures into these religions, it changes things, because now they realize that these things really have power. They have their thing in the Celtics and the witchcraft that they use on their side behind closed doors, but they tap into our spiritualities, and they learn our thing, and then they realize that this thing is powerful. So then now they want to run the country or run us into the dirt, and behind the guise of a political coup. But you got to realize there's a lot of priests in Haiti. Yeah. And the powers that be, realizing these things, they move accordingly. So without going too deep, but yeah.
I get it. You said a lot without saying anything. I get
you. Yeah.
I get you. Zanele and Guru, you were saying something. I don't know if you remember what you were saying, but you cut off right when you were talking.
I hope this time I won't freeze. So So what I was saying is these guys are able to invite their ancestors to roam as in things like the Zangbeto. So you see them moving around, and when they open it, there's nothing. It's like this thing was dancing in air. So it's something like that. So these guys were able to use such things to beat the French because they'll be beaten by things that they cannot see. And I can give an example because now being in Africa,
Yeah, I'm a conspiracy theorist right now. I'm being a super conspiracy theorist right now because as soon as you said being in Africa, it froze. That's all I'm saying. Is that somebody doesn't want that to get out. I don't know who, but somebody's sitting there with a mute button right now saying, you know what? Freeze right there. So, okay, I think we got you back. Mhm. Yeah, I think that we got you back. We can hear you, so. Yeah, I think that they're fixing it right now. So I'll give them a couple of seconds to get that together. Now here's something that, again, part of the concept that I had is after watching the movie Black Panther, one of the things that they talked about was communicating with our ancestors. You know, T'Challa became an ancestor. His mom became an ancestor. How is that different with communicating with angels, Brother High Chief?
Well, our ancestors are, you know, like I said, our bloodline. And you know, honestly, you know, in this beautiful world, you don't know who people are.
Yeah.
We all carry, we all have a shell or a body or avatar, and so some people are angels and they don't even know it until they realize these things. So, angel is spirit guide. So,
yeah.
It's a little bit, you know, in order to really communicate, you know, sometimes we assign spirit guides or angels to us for our incarnations here. You know what I mean? So the spirit, the deity is always with us. The angel or spirit guide is always with us. We're assigned a few. So, but you know, they communicate through our dreams. But some of the people who initiate to become a priest, they can communicate directly to the deity. You know, and the ones that who receive the deity, you can receive a deity. For example, if you want to join the religion, you can get initiated and you receive Ifa, which is you receive Orunmila. Orunmila is the deity of the aspect of God of divining and prophecy. And or you can receive you know, Orisha Ogun. Ogun is the aspect of God of the warrior, blacksmith, or you know, other, you know, Shango. You have all these other deities that you can receive, and you can communicate with them. Yeah, brother, Alegua, or his counterpart is Eshu. You know, you can receive those, and you know, they all play their part. They all have their specialty, and you can communicate with them. Like my brother just put up, Alegua or Eshu is a very, very important. When you're in the spirit realm, you need to have an escort. You know, escort, because people will throw witchcraft at you, or you know, you could be under attack, psychic attacks, or whatever have you. But when you in your dream state, which is really the spirit realm, the Eshu or / Elegua is the escort. And but this goes back even beyond the Yoruba culture. In Kemetic science, they had Habek, which is another, which is a pretty much a escort. You know, I mean, excuse me, Subek. Subek is like an escort, which is like an Eshu in the spirit realm. But yeah, you can communicate once you receive these deities, and they help you in your life. I mean, they already communicate because they're assigned to you. But you know, once you realize and you move further in your spirituality, you get to know these spirit guides, and they can really guide you in your life. But their spirit guides are aspects of the Creator.
Oh wow.
Their attributes.
So when we talk about our angels or our guardian angels or what have you, those are pretty much our spirit guides or our protectors here on earth.
Correct.
Wow.
Those
Okay.
are the spirits that helped Haiti. Those are the spirits that that are in the Yoruba Ifa religion. Those are, those are, and yeah, some our ancestors as well. Our ancestors help us because some of our ancestors that go back in our if we go back in our lineage of our Egungun, some of them are kings. Some of them, are elevated. Some of them are elevated as being spirit guides. So, a spirit guide is just a position. When we had talked about that earlier in the interview, it's just a position. You can become a spirit guide. You become an angel. If you haven't advanced that, if you are already there, then you're incarnated angel. But some of us can reach that level. Like I said, you have to attain through life after life to get that in the spirit realm. But they communicated with us all the time.
Oh wow. Okay. And Guru Zanelli, I think that we may have you back. I hope so.
Hopefully.
Okay, we got you back. Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so I should I finish what I was talking about?
Please do.
So in a similar manner, we are able to protect our property here in a similar manner that the people of Benin or the people of Haiti use their ancestors and their ancestral magic to fight these people. So, we say words have power, and you're able to use nature and your words to create something that is very powerful in bid to protect what you have. For example, Maasai people are people who keep a lot of cattle. And with the African spirituality, the Maasai spirituality, they are able to, we say, like tie or protect the herd using some herbs, some natural herbs and their words. So if you decided that they had a lot of animals and you took one, you might carry the animal and take home, make some nice stew, and tomorrow you are dead.
Oh wow.
So yeah, or something bad happens to you because you stole their animals. So people are able to protect their property and their children and themselves from negative energies and bad things by using such power. Another thing I've heard my brother talking about guardian angels. So in our case, what we call guardian angels is our ancestors. And so when one person dies, it's either they are locked out of the ancestral realm because of the bad things that they did, or they are accepted because they were pure. So I told you, when one dies, there's a ritual that is undertaken or done so that that person can now be accepted into the ancestral realm. And what the person who does that is mostly the firstborn son. And what they are doing is they are saying, my dad did this and this and this. And they might not have the capability of atoning for what they did, but I'll take that responsibility and carry out all the rituals that are supposed to be done on his behalf so that he can be accepted into the ancestral realm. When they are accepted into the ancestral realm, now they become your guidance. The guidance, they give you guidance, whether in dreams or in just inside you spiritually. You find yourself making good decisions and evading accidents, bad energies and all that. You even meet someone and you feel that you are not connecting with the person the right way. They are the ones who are now telling you that person is bad. You might be walking somewhere and you decide to take a different path, and your mind, your whole body tells you no, this is not the path. Let me go through the intuition. They become now the masters of your intuition. They are the ones guiding you. So they become your guardian angels. And something that I want you to know is these are the people who were there before you, and it's you guys who have ensured that they go to the ancestral realm. So what happens if they have not transpired into the ancestral realm? They because they really want to go there, they will be
Mhm.
requesting for it. And how do they do that? You
Mhm.
find that people are having infights in the family, people are fighting. Or you find that now, whenever you sleep, you dream about that person. That
Mhm.
person try to tell you things that you cannot understand.
Mhm.
But if you are into African spirituality and you understand what this person wants, and you go that step of carrying out this ritual to now beg the other ancestors to accept them, you are taking their responsibilities. So once you do that, now they will be coming into your dreams to tell you good things, not
Mhm.
the other ones which were disturbing and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, here's the question. We spoke earlier about how we communicate with our ancestors. How do we show respect to them? Because I know that that's a big thing as well.
Respect.
Yes. How do we honor them?
For example, one thing, there are those little we can say small rituals that we do here. For example, in my Kiku community, one, pour libation. Well, that's one. Anytime you are having any type of food or drink, before you even put it into your mouth, you have to you get some and you pour on the ground. Anything, any type of food, you have to look for a place with soil, that is
Mhm.
dirt, not on the pavement, or somewhere that have soil, and you
Mhm.
pour it. If it's a drink, if it's some food, you get some small, you put, even if it's something like nuts, you just get some two three, you throw them on the ground. That is one. Another thing is inviting them into your life and just sitting and conversing with them. We talk about meditation. In meditation, you kind of are trying to enter into a different realm that not
Oh, conspiracy
the
theory
physical
again.
realm that we can see. You're trying to enter into that realm. So
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
so if you can be being in that state, in a quiet state, and talking to them, invite them into your life. Because
Mhm.
maybe you slept and you dreamt about your grandmother. You may not understand what is happening, and you
Mhm. Because you may not understand what's happening.
say, it's just a dream. I'm just remembering her. But
Mhm.
if you sorry,
No, you cut out for a second. You
if
said
you
that you may
if
not
you
understand. I'm sorry, Kat.
okay, so if you just took it into your own hands and invite them and say, I need you to guide me, you will see different things happening, like good things happening into your life that you would not have seen before. So like those people, these are your people. It's your grandfather, it's your great grandfather. They are not here to hurt you because
Mhm.
you are them. Remember, let's talk genetics now.
Mhm.
This is the person who gave birth to your father and your grandfather. So there's no way we can call them an evil spirit, and or it's your father. So this is part of you. You are part of, because you carry their genes. So you are them. You are all of them. So there's no way you can be scared of your father, your grandfather. In fact, if it's someone you had very good time, they loved you, so be sure that they are going to help you move forward, because they need you to attain what you are brought to this world to do, your purpose.
Mm.
Yeah, and they also want you to have descendants, because the descendants are them.
Mm. Mm. Oh, wow. Okay. I see we already have a couple of questions. So for everyone who has questions, I see you. We'll open it up in a couple of minutes. Let's have a couple of more things to get through, and then I promise you we will open it up to all of you in a few. Just a couple of more questions. Now, this is one that may offend people. If it does offend people, I don't mean it for it to offend people. Is there a belief in African spirituality that there is one God or many gods?
So let me talk about my Kikuyu spirituality. There's one God, just one, and we are not allowed to have anything that relates to any other. It's one, and this is the God who created our first father and mother. And we have this hierarchy. We have God, the superior God, God, and what we say is God created a system. Okay, we can say they are like okay, in nature there are three type of laws. There's the divine law, the nature's law, and the human law. And in the divine law, this is how God created you as a man or as a woman. You cannot change anything. And in this law, for example, you cannot jump out of a high building and now decide you will go up. God,
Like you said, God and froze.
created a system in which if you jump, the gravity created a system in which if you jump, to fall down. If you pour water on top of a hill, it will flow down. So if there's, God created a system, and after he created a system, he left us. So if you mess up, it's on you. For example, if you cut trees, you create a desert.
Yeah, wow. That's actually I'd never thought of it that way. Yeah, that's actually very interesting. If you cut trees, you
So
create
God
a
created
desert.
system in which when they are exactly, and you cannot go praying to God to give you rain, and it's you who messed up the environment. And that's why the Africans were able to live together with wild animals and the environment as a whole.
Okay. Brother High
And
Chief.
you will not of any point in time where the lion would
No, go ahead,
sorry,
go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm saying you would not hear of a time when the lions would come and steal the children, because there was a way that they lived together. They understood all this. So before you move on to Brother Jay, I was saying there's a hierarchy. There's God, then our ancestors, the people who have gone before us, then their elders, our parents, and us. That means I will respect my parents and the elders. I see my elders as my parents. Then after the elder, my parents, then elders, everybody who's older than us, our parents. Then there's the ancestors, and then there's God. I cannot go against what has been placed in our culture by the ancestors and what our elders and our parents have said no. So it's one God, our ancestors, our elders, our parents, and us.
Okay. Got it. Brother Jay, High Chief. Do you agree, or do you see that it's something different based on your experiences, training, and what you understand?
I view it a little bit different. Not knocking anybody's views. Everybody's views is based on their understanding of things. But my understanding is the Most High, which is the creator of everything, is his consciousness. The consciousness, and it's a feminine energy and it's a masculine energy, probably more feminine than masculine. It's an energy, and it created itself out of nothing. Only thing that existed when the creator created himself was chaos. And when he created chaos, the first thing he created was Ma, which is order. And out of that order, he created attributes of himself, which is pretty much, it's still him, but it's just an attribute of him, which he created the spirits, the guardian angels, or whatever you want to call them in different cultures, the guardian angels, the Orisha, the Loa. He created these things, these attributes of himself, but nonetheless, all are different attributes, but all are one. Even though we like an ocean, a drop of water out of the ocean is, for example, could be a attribute of him. But inside but when the drop of ocean water goes back into the ocean, becomes one. You know, but it's attributes of himself that he created to go and do his work, go to create existence, primordial deities that created existence, created planets, created physical worlds, and so on and so forth. But in other cultures, they call them the morning stars, or the Big Bang. We were created out of himself to go and learn, and to learn every possible thing in existence through incarnation, and to eventually come back. But you know, God is one, but God is many, and we are extensions of God. The world is. This is God's show. But God created himself out of nothing, but he created attributes of himself to go and do his work. So, you know, it's a yes and no. I agree with you. It's a yes and no for me. You know, God is one, but God is many.
Okay. Now, we're going to get ready to wrap it up in a couple of minutes before I turn it over to the audience. My question for both of you is, what are some misconceptions of African spirituality? Like, for example, whenever you hear about voodoo or African spirituality, the first thing you hear about is, oh, they're evil, or, you know, they're possessed, or they're doing terrible things. What are some of the misconceptions of African spirituality?
Who's that for?
Well, Chief, you already started, so I guess we'll start with you.
Misconceptions is I guess the possession. I realized, from back in the days when I was drinking, people go to bars, and then, people would drink, and then people would get like, they will, kind of bug out, and then the guy, they'd be like, hey man, you didn't act like yourself. I believe that, the spirits, it's like an osmosis. When people drink, the spirits come along. So, I think the possession thing is a misconception. People don't, realize that possession happens in church. People get possessed by the spirit. They scream and shout. But possession is just a way for your ancestors to communicate. Some people they have the spiritual abilities that they don't realize. And they can be what they call in some cultures, some spiritualities, mounted, by the spirit. And I think that's a misconception. But in life, you have good and bad. You know what I mean? You have people that go out here and eat negative energies, negative things, and you have people that do positive and good things. So there's a duality in life. There's a duality. God created duality. The yin and yang. So
yeah.
And so whatever religion you're in, you have the people that's out there just doing it for good and doing it for bad. So but the misconception is everybody has the choice to do what they're supposed to do, which is the right thing, or they have the choice to do the wrong thing in anything. So, but in this thing, in spirituality, you are manipulating the simulation. and this world is a simulation. So if you learn the occultic knowledge and occultic wisdom to manipulate this simulation for yourself and for your ego and for your self gratification, it becomes a bad thing. But if you manipulate it to help save somebody's life, to uplift that person and bring them to a place in their life where they have blessings, opportunity, it becomes a good thing. But but I think society has created that to keep us, especially Black people, away. They keep us away from our culture and our religion. They make it as a bad thing. To keep us away and put fear in us, to keep us going to the churches and giving the money to the pulpit.
Okay. Okay. And Guru Zanelli, are you do we still have you? I definitely want to ask you the same question.
Yeah, so I think the biggest misconception is relating now African spirituality and what they call witchcraft, like doing bad, using now this power, this like Brother Jay said, we
broke again.
we are pieces of God. So what I'm saying is we are a piece of God. Each and every one of us has that power obtained from God. And for those who are able to, who have now learned very much of our African spirituality up to a point that they are now priests and all that, those people have now this ability of using this power to heal and to do other things. Some people decide now.
Some people decide
they can use this power to kill, or it's them to decide. Yes, so those people who decide to do that, now they enter a dark part of African spirituality that is not supposed to be done. And maybe this is what we can say the people of Haiti used to save themselves. So it was allowed for this, but not for doing bad to your
not for, I guess, for doing bad to your kind,
people because they are doing better than you. So most people now, so most people now, when Christianity came, we have priests. These are the medicine people. These are the people who heal us. When Christianity came, it created a bunch, a bunch of African spirituality being. It stacked African spirituality in both good and bad. So even the priests and the medicine people who would heal people was started being called witches. So up to today, if you are practicing African spirituality, you live in, I can say we've been living in some kind of hiding, because you don't want people to know, because people will call you a witch, or now you have entered the witch's side, So it's that misconception that those people who go African spirituality are going to practice witchcraft. And that's the worst, because people are so scared of African spirituality to a point that if someone was found doing anything, pouring libation, some people would even kill them and call them a witch.
Oh, wow.
So people are scared. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's crazy because it actually goes to my next question, which will actually
be
the
biggest misconception.
Yeah, that actually ties to my next question, which is actually going to be my final question before I open it up to the audience. There's a lot of false information out there about African spirituality. How can someone find out the truth about it? Because you have a lot of false prophets out there.
Yeah. So if it's in my culture, I'll tell you, you start with yourself. You because it's in you, it's in your genes, it's your life, it's you. So start with you. And the best thing I can, because this is what I did, is open up to your ancestors, and tell them, I want to know who I am. I want to know my spirituality. Guide me. And you won't even realize, but you find the people with the same energy as you. And these are the people who guide you to where you're supposed to be. For
Okay.
example, when I started this, I told you my friend just came to visit me, and I don't know what we were talking about. And he told me, "Do you know? Last week I went to visit a priest, and he told me this and this and this. And when I asked my dad, it was true. So I told him, now you'll be taking me there next week," and that's how it all started. So start with your own self. Start with you can even liaise with your elders and ask them if they know anything, and they'll tell you.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Brother High Chief.
What was that?
Same question. There's a lot of misconceptions out there and false information about African spirituality, and you have a unique perspective, being that you're someone that's from America. So how can someone find out about African spirituality?
I know it's kind of hard, especially for us. Like I said, I changed my life and God brought me there. You know, this is my birthright. You know, a lot of us are born. It doesn't matter what continent you're born on. You can be born in California and be more spiritual than somebody that's born in South Africa. It doesn't matter where you're born. It just, you know, that's the incarnation where you chose to come into that life.
Yeah.
But you know, I guess nowadays internet, but it becomes kind of like sketchy because you can meet people out there that want to be scammers. There's a lot of scammers, and, you know, just like any religion or any practice of spirituality, it's scammers, and it becomes kind of, you know, it kind of scary. But I guess maybe try to research the religion, maybe get some books.
Sure.
First, do your research on the religion first, and, you know, try to go on the internet a little bit, but, you know, also pray. You know, get into just not just any type of religion, but get to know God in the you know, for yourself. You know, get into prayer, get into meditation, learn how to be a better person first before you get into these spiritualities, because you have to learn to walk a fine line before you start getting into these spiritualities where they're going to enhance your what they call ashe. You know, some people are born with natural ashe. People can, you know, they have special gifts that are natural, and, you know, but all these things, these initiations, they enhance those things. And, you know, you got to learn how to be a good person first before you can start doing that, because if that you're like you know, you get into the initiations, you're not really a good person. It's like being a kid with a loaded handgun. And because you can take people's lives. This is, you know, phenomenon. This is how God created the universe, created existence through mysticism. So, you know, you want to do that first, and try to do some research, and maybe see what other people's perspective is on certain temples, because we have some temples here in America. Some people come here from Nigeria. I wouldn't suggest anybody just go to Nigeria or go to Africa just to, you know, wing it, because, you know, you can get hurt. There's remember I said duality, and you have duality in all religion. And some people out there, they want to make money, and they will use you and take advantage of you, even though your quest is to, you know, search God and do better for yourself. So I would do my homework first, but learn the religion first.
Okay, thank you, and I would like to thank you too as my guest. You know, Brother Jay, High Chief, we know each other from outside of this, and when you told me that you were willing to come on and talk about this, and if you remember, we actually had a conversation about this over the summer. You said, "I'm going to wind up on your show." You told me this over the summer.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, you speak things into existence, and they happen.
Yeah. So I definitely appreciate you coming on, just sharing your light. And this, I promise to the audience, this will not be the last time that you see him. We will be bringing him back, and we will be discussing more things, because there's so much that we didn't unpack. So
we're just beginning to go down the rabbit hole.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And my brother and sister Zanele and Guru. Again, before we get to the questions, thanks again for coming on. Yet again, we've done this so many times that we're actually going to try to make this a monthly occurrence with our brothers and sisters from Africa. So, for those of you,
let's do this more frequently.
Yes, definitely. And for those that are not aware, Zanele and Guru have multiple shows online. We have, I'm trying to remember all of the names. Beyond Borders with Zanele, For Africans by Africans. If you can put those in the links, everybody's already asking for links. And am I missing any? I think that you have about 4 shows now.
Quite a number of them.
Yeah, you have a few. So if you can you put the shows in the links in the chat, please?
Yeah, let's just do that.
Brother,
yes.
I would like to acknowledge my sister Alice, who's on the show from Nairobi.
Is she here?
Yeah.
Where is she at? Got her. Okay. Sister Alice, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Hello, good to have you on.
My name is Alice, and it's my first time to join. But we have been in this spiritual journey with my brother and my sister-in-law, Zanele. So I'm happy to be here, and as long as I have the links, I'll be joining. Thank you.
I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you even being on. We have more people from the motherland on here. We had so far we have Nigeria. We had a brother from Ghana on. We have Kenya and Eswatini, along with America and the Dominican Republic. So we're really getting this message out literally around the world. So we're gonna open it up for questions. I already see that there's a hand up. For those of you that are coming on for the first time, the way that we do questions in order to keep order is you either do the hand raise option, where you tap on the 3 dots on either the top or bottom of your screen. You hit raise hands. It should look like this on your screen, and it gives you the ability to raise your hand so that I'll know, so that we can see you and respond to your question. You can type your question in the chat. And if all else fails, just take your mic off and let me know that you have a question. So let's start with Brother Jim. You have your hand up. Your hand's been up for a while.
Hey, what's up, brother? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
What's up? What's up, everyone, brothers and sisters? How you doing?
Hey, brother, how's it going?
I'm blessed. I'm truly blessed. Want to first congratulate you, brother James Brown.
Thank you.
We missed you for sure, brother.
Thank you.
Excellent work, and to bring us internet church. What a return, right?
Yes, sir. I never shy away from controversy.
I salute you there, and to my dear brother and Guru, to Nelly, my sister, brother. I love you, miss you guys. See you.
Good to see you, bro.
It's been a long time. It's been a long
we need to connect.
But it's so good to share in spirit with the both of you right now. And brother Jason Gray, is definitely a pleasure finally to hear you speak, brother. We crossed paths years ago, but now we're in spirit now. And what you and brother, good to see you, brother Jason.
Yeah, that was at the beginning of my journey, brother.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
Yeah.
How far you've grown in your power, for sure.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. Well, I guess my question, because I was sitting here listening to Brother Jason and Guru, and I aligned with a lot they were saying, and to be as different at times, they were so respectful of each other's energy, and that's powerful.
Yeah.
That was just beautiful, and I aligned with both of them in a lot they said. So I guess I have 2 questions. I guess the first one would be, I guess, to Brother Jason and Guru. With spirituality, as we call it, African spirituality, how in line are a lot of your beliefs with voodoo first? All right, because well, that's first. Just how in line, or do you see a lot of similarities with voodoo come from different angles of spirituality? And also, is there a name to your God in your spirituality, whichever one you practice? Is there a name to your God? The reason why I ask this, because if you listen even to the slaves that came to America, their roots are from Africa. They come from African spirituality. So they always said they're reaching out to the ancestors. I have never once heard them say God, not to shun anything about this God. We all bow to it. I may see it as a different entity than most religions. So I guess first, what are the similarities of your African spirituality with voodoo? And then second, this thing we call God, is there a name with your African spirituality, or are you just bowing and giving respect to this thing you call God in your African spirituality? I hope I made that a little simple.
Well, in the Yoruba Ifa tradition, Olodumare is his name.
Okay.
The highest name in the Yoruba tradition is Olodumare. That's his name. But and then there's but he created another, but Olodumare creates more existence. So he created himself another attribute, which is called Olofi. And then Olofi is like the god of this planet, we worship the Orisha, which is the attribute of God that can actually get things moving down here for you. But God, and not just in the Yoruba, or the voodoo has a similar God name too. But the spirits are attributes of God, so we don't per se worship the highest God, the creator. We worship the deities, the attributes of. And the ancestors are intermediaries as well. But the voodoo, instead of like in the Yoruba culture, they're called the Orisha. In the voodoo, they're called the Loa. That's the name of the guardian angels. They're called the Loa. And like the ancestors, like, all right, your immediate family are ancestors, right? But what if they didn't have a good life? What if they weren't good people? What if they had struggles in their life? Your immediate ancestors. Some of them are murderers. Some of them are thieves. Some of them have did bad things. So how can you honor them? You can probably raise their level up in the spirit realm by giving them light, giving them candles, giving them flowers, but they have things they have to do in order to advance. They have to have another incarnation. So I wouldn't go around me per se to go and venerate all my immediate family members that passed away, because some of them haven't lived good lives. But some of your ancestors that have gone in the Yoruba culture, they're called Egungun. Those are your forefathers. They have been kings and queens. So I venerate those. But the highest god in the Yoruba religion, Ifa, is Olodumare. That's the original creator. But then you have the Kemetic science. You have Amun-Ra. Like I said, they all have different attributes, but God said in himself, I have many names. In Islam, Allah. Our conceptual brains, our little human brains can't really conceptualize what God is. So we come up with all different names, but nonetheless, they're all are God. They're all are the creator, no matter what name, because of culture as well. Culture, because of language, everybody has different names, but from the Yoruba perspective or voodoo perspective, but especially Yoruba, Olodumare is the creator, and he's the creator of all. But he goes and creates other existences, other galaxies, other star systems. Why he has other attributes of himself that tend to us, but we don't really praise. We praise Olodumare, but we praise the Orisha, because the Orisha are aspects of Olodumare that tend to our needs on earth.
Okay. All right. And Guru, can he follow up with that and answer? I don't know if he heard my question.
Yeah, I did. And okay, let me start by telling you that Africa is a bit vast, and because I've been doing a lot of research on our spirituality, you understand that we have thousands of we call them tribes, but if we went back post colonial period, pre-colonial, sorry, there will be small kingdoms. So you understand that every kingdom would have its own language. So the names of God would be different for every tribe. And also, like I said, in our Kiku spirituality, where we have a hierarchy of God up to us, it will be different for other small kingdoms. So I would say for us, we have one God. We call him Mwene Nyaga, meaning the owner of everything, or Gai. So those two names are what we call God in Kikuyu spirituality. I hope I have answered your question. Oh, sorry. You wanted to know the relationship of these spiritualities with voodoo.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So because of this diversity, and some people live in semi-arid areas, some people live in highlands, some people live in lowlands, different plants, different crops, different environments. So, and that is how people relate with their God, with the creation. So some things will be different. But if you delve into these spiritualities, you understand the major things, or most of the things. For example, pouring libation, conversing with the ancestors, you find it's all similar. Only that, for example, where my wife comes from, where Zanele comes from, they will have a heart specifically for talking to the ancestors. They are a ritual that they do to converse with the ancestors. They will light a candle, they will use some herbs. But for us, we'll have a different way of doing that. So I can say it's similar, but not very similar, differentiated by just the environment and the natural beings which are wherever each small kingdom is.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Jim, if you're talking, your mic's off.
Okay. Excellent, brothers, and I appreciate your answers, and I definitely in line with them. And I'll just end with this, just to give my little take on where I am, because just like religions, opinions, everything, everybody has their own personal. So there's no offense in whoever believes in what, because that's why we have belief, to have our own will. That's our own will. And if you live long enough, I'm an old man now, so you lose a lot of beliefs in a lot of things. You live long enough, and it's the rising of the Aquarius, the age of Aquarius now. So a lot of things are being revealed to us, and a lot of us choose to hide instead of seeing all the undepth of all the secrets are coming now. And I say that because I just feel Abrahamic religions kind of embottled religion in a way, and bottled spirituality where it's not supposed to be bottled at all. And that's not a shun on Abrahamic religions. It served well for a lot of people. It's just where I am. Like I said, being an old man, you speak your mind, how you believe. I want no one to believe like me. It's what gets me through this world. And when we talk about ancestors, like I said, you always hear the slaves say ancestors. And not to disrespect this thing we call God, but they know they're more hands-on. They can almost touch what they call God is through ancestors. And that's the way I believe now. So I'm just putting this out. It's kind of rhetorical. If you can add to it, I just believe this God we look for is here. And when people say they're traveling great distances to find the ancestors, I just choose to look within, because
Yeah.
their blood, their pain, their joy is in my blood. So,
Yeah.
I think with anything, spirituality, I think we should give ourselves more credit and start looking within, because that's what ancestors are. That same DNA they had, that blood drop from 500, 1,000 years ago is in your DNA. So if we learn how to go within and pull the answers from without, it's there. So I choose to look for my answers within. And one last thing, when it comes to, I always say this, like I said, my personal belief, nature, the earth is my religion. The universal consciousness is my God. And that's what I go to for the answers. I go to nature for the food. It gives me the answers for health. I go to the nature in prayer, meditation. It gives me all the conscious answers. So I just said, I think we, in this day and time, the rising the age of Aquarius, just need to look in more. Definitely look in. But I appreciate the show. I appreciate having church with my brothers and sisters. I'm gonna fall back. I digress right now. Once again, James Brown, thank you again.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Brother Anthony Brown, AB, what's going on, brother?
Sorry, brother. Can I just add before we move?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, can I just add on to what Brother Jim has talked about?
Sure.
When he says ancestors are within us, our DNA, and that sort of thing. I think for most people who have not lost maybe a parent, it's very hard to relate to what ancestors are. So most people they connect ancestors to great grandparents, people they have not even met, most cases. So you find that they relate to an ancestor as to their great grandmother who they've just only heard stories about. So they don't really know who this person is. They've never had that intimate relationship with them. Maybe they've never even spoken or saw them. So it becomes something that is far-fetched from them. Yet for people who have lost like an immediate parent, somebody who has raised them, somebody who knows them like in and out, someone they felt a relationship with and they had that great relationship with, when that person dies and they now understand that this is an ancestor to me, it becomes more real. Like for me, the term ancestors, it sounded demonic. It sounded like it's people we don't even know, but it's like we're worshiping these people, until I lost my dad. Like right now, when my dad comes into my dreams, I get so happy because this is somebody I can relate to. This is somebody we've had that relationship. I know when my dad is angry. I know when he's happy. He can just come to my dream and smile and not even say a word. And I can relate that to something good that is about to happen to my life. He can come and maybe he's angry, he's mad, he's trying to warn me from something. And the following morning or within a few days after the dream, something really bad happens. And, it traces you back to this person who came, somebody that you can relate to when he's angry, when he's happy. It makes more sense to have an ancestor who's very close to you. So for most people, when it says ancestor, that's the reason some will even leave the US to come to Africa to look for their DNA, for their ancestors. When these are people who are within your lineage, they live within you, they know you better. You might not know them, but they do know you. So when they come through your dreams, it's easier to relate if it's somebody that you've had that relationship with. So I just wanted to add that on to what Brother Jim has said. Thanks.
Thank you. Brother AB.
Hey, how you doing? What's up, brother Brown?
Hey, other brother Brown. What's going on?
Everything is good. I'm blessed. I just got a quick question for brother Chief J. How you doing? Greetings. I wanted to know, being in the religion, you're an Ifa. knowing that, okay, that there's one God and God is also many, the way that you pray to the many gods, as in praying to the one God, how do you feel about doing blood sacrifices towards the gods as giving up? Is that a positive thing, or is that a good thing? Do you look at it as a good thing or a positive thing? Is that good with yourself doing blood? Like, if we, for instance, like, I know sometimes, because I'm also in the religion as well, but I'm a member of Palo Mayombe. So
I'm very privy of that. I'm very privy of the religion. Yeah.
Oh, salam alaikum.
Were you Congolese?
Yes, Congolese. Yes. Yes.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Or
I don't
assalamu
like
alaikum.
Malaikum salam. The only thing that pulled me back from the religion is the fact that the offerings that I was doing included with the God that I believe and the way I was taught God is. You get what I'm trying to say? I'm also a brother. I'm a brother of a Masonic lodge. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you get what I'm trying to say, in other words, I don't see the similarities in the religion together. So I felt like I had to drop one to believe in the other. But a lot of people are saying that both of them is together.
Well, no, what religions? Palo Mayombe and what religion is together?
Palo Mayombe, like just African spirituality, along with Masonry, and I'm talking about the blood sacrifices that we do for offerings.
Well, Masonry, now to give it a little, a little overhead, Masonry is what the Europeans named it once they went to Egypt and Kemet, and they took it out of the pyramids, and they renamed it. All it is based off the Egyptian mystery schools. And if you know about Osar and Aset and Tahuti, which is, those are other deities or other aspects of the creator, people give them, gave them blood as well, or Ajay. Now, some people who look at animals and they, you have people out there that view animals and they, animal sacrifice, but people, you eat food. But you got to realize, and this is might go over some people's head. This world is a digitally organic world or simulation. So even though it feels real that we're here, it's energies and everything. So the blood has energy in it.
Okay.
So the blood is, it enhances the deity in the spirit realm. You understand? The life force inside of a chicken, per se. The life force in the blood, when you feed the icon or the attribute of the deity, it charges that deity on the prayer that you need to get done. But that energy in the blood is what charges the deity. So at first, I was kind of like, I never been, in Palo, you more or less dealing with earth energies, right?
Right, of course.
But that goes that. But then as you get deeper into Palo, like you start realizing that there's really no death. There's just a transference of energy.
Right.
So that's why a lot of the work in the Palo is, of course, is in the cemetery. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but you gotta have a stomach. I mean, some people. And it's really, if you go into Ifa and you go into your Ita and your readings, some people they're not going to be stomaching the blood. They can't stomach, so they have to go to their Babalawo, or they have to go to their godparents, or in your case, in Palo, to your Tata.
My Tata, yeah.
Yeah, to do the work for them because can't stomach it. But you can give Adimu to your ancestors all day, give them the food. But it's that actual IJ, that blood energy that get them going for you.
Okay. Thank you, brother.
Also, if you have you probably got an Ego stick, right?
Yeah, I do have an Ego stick. Yes.
Yeah, they like that blood too. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's
I
what
haven't-
charges them. You got to kind of look. It's energy.
Okay. Okay.
What it say in the Bible when we was in church? There was power, wonder working power in the blood. So
Yeah.
sacrifices
blood,
been going in
yeah.
Abrahamic religions as well.
Oh wow.
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 Yeah, he was going to sacrifice his son.
Yeah, and that's a human sacrifice.
Abraham.
Yeah.
You know, but then,
Okay.
but you got some witch cults that sacrifice humans and sacrifice babies and all that other crazy stuff. You know, not to get into that, but the duality again.
Mhm.
There we go. So there's something in the blood.
Ah,
That's,
okay. Thank you, brother.
It's a life force.
Mm.
I say.
Oh wow. Wow. Oh, well, we building right now.
Yeah.
We are building.
Thank you, brother.
Does anybody else?
And to add to my brother, you know, you're right. The my elder brother from the Masonic Lodge, because you know I'm in the Masonic Lodge as well.
Yes, sir.
Me per se, God has always been inside of me, but in order to get initiated the right path, not to look for your ancestors, but to get initiated, you have to have the rites of passage by God. Because everybody's different in the spirit. So if I come from heaven and I'm a king in heaven, I have to go to become a king on earth. So you just can't go and have it within you. You got to go and initiate, which is the rites of passage. Even in Abrahamic religion, what do you think Jesus or Yahshua Bar, which his real name is, he was initiated until he came on the cross when he died at 33.
Right.
He was initiating the Kemetic sciences as well. And sometimes you have to travel in order to get initiated the proper way. And you know, how far would you go for God? Of course, God is in you, your ancestors, everything in you, but you have to have a rites of passage.
Okay.
And everybody's path is different. So
thank you.
You got to travel your path.
Thank you.
Yes. Whew. We were building on that one.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Hey, Jay, do you have any more questions right now?
I was gonna ask, does anyone else have any questions?
I just had a follow-up with Zanelli, just real quick. It was something that was standing for me, and I said, I want to call her, but why not ask her right here, if that's okay? Okay, Jay?
Yeah, sure. Zanelli, do we still have you here?
Is Zanelli still?
Yeah.
Sis, let me ask you this. What you said, it stayed with me, and my spirit just said, I just want to hear this from you, and probably brother as well, in your spirituality that you're in. My thing, I say this, I go out to the sun to get vitamin D, correct? I am not actually getting any vitamins from the sun at all.
Definitely.
I'm not vitamin D. What happens, your body is activated. The vitamin D within your body is activated by the sun. So it is truly our own body we don't give enough credit to. We bow to everything and don't give our body enough credit that it produces everything. It's activated by nature a lot, from nature's food, nature's sun. So I guess my question, to follow up on what you were saying, is there something in the spiritual system that you practice in Africa that can activate the DNA that's in you from our ancestors? If you have never actually physically met them, like you say, your father, you know, because you consciously met him. So you know when he's angry, he comes to you in dreams. So you can consciously bring him back to you. But for the ancestors you have never met, is there any sort of activation system in your spiritual system that can activate the DNA, the blood that is from 500 years ago? It's there in us. And like I say, I just think all the answers are in us. We just don't know how to activate it. So, I mean, we can speak with our ancestors from 500 years ago. We just don't know how to activate it. It's like the sun activates the vitamin D in us. Is there anything in your spiritual system that can activate that communication with your ancestors?
Definitely. So it's different for different cultures and countries. So I'll take it specifically to my culture and my country. So for us, when you are born, the very first important thing is even before you are born, you as the mother carrying the unborn child, there's a way that they introduce this unborn child to the ancestors. There's so many rituals that they do. Yeah, there's the burning of incense. There's a cow that can be slaughtered immediately after you are born to alert the ancestors or let them know that a son or a daughter is about to be, introduced into the family, of which we do acknowledge that this is a kid who is a blessing from the ancestors, but we still believe that she or he should be reintroduced to them just to acknowledge their blessing to the family and to say that this is a new baby being born. Please protect this baby. Please acknowledge that this is a new additional member of the family. Please guide this baby and guard him or her against any danger, any spiritual whatever fights and all of those things. So that's the beginning of the introduction to those ancestors that you don't know. So immediately when you are born, step number one is that you are introduced as a small kid. Even within the first week, it should be done within the first week, because the first 3 days, say you were born in the hospital, that's when you come back home within the 4th day. So that's when you immediately have to be introduced. And from that, we believe that once they know that you are there and acknowledge your presence into their family, they now come and live in you. Okay. So actually what happens when a small kid, when maybe a 1-month baby is sleeping and they are smiling in their sleep, I don't know if you have witnessed that, like a very small baby, the first month or weeks within their birth, you find that they are just smiling, they are laughing, they are giggling. You don't even know who's talking to this baby. So in my culture, we say, oh, it's the grandmother who has come, pass a message to this baby. This is why they are smiling and giggling from nowhere. Or if the baby is crying in their sleep, maybe it looks like it's a nightmare. We usually say it's a message being passed to this baby. So already this baby is being given messages by the ancestors, just by the mere fact that they used to them. And then once now you start growing up and understanding. Sorry about that. You understand all of these things. There's another ritual that we have. So we have a house specifically made for the grandmother, because we believe that your grandmother possesses the greatest power within the family. So in that grandmother's house, every traditional ritual that has to be performed in your family is done in that hut. It's a hut, usually a hut. It's a thatched grass hut that is specifically created for that. So you go there, you light a candle, you have is it incense? What is it called?
Incense.
Incense, yes.
You burn incense, you slaughter a cow. Now you reintroduce family members that may have been, out of the family. Some family members can decide to neglect the family and maybe come back. So you reintroduce them so that the ancestors acknowledge their presence within the family, and now they can be able to guide and guard them and live in them and be in their dreams and in their lives and something like that. I hope it makes a bit of some sense. I don't know if you need some more clarity, but that is how we really activate it to say, actually, my mother's grandfather, I didn't know this woman. I never, when I was born, she was not there. So I would dream about this woman and go and tell my mom that I always dream about a woman who looks like this and this and this. And this is what this woman is saying. So my mom would say, explain to me again. And they'll be wearing a cloth, maybe some type of cloth, a brown cloth actually, which looks like a military thing. So my mom would ask me, what did you say they were wearing? So I'd see this woman wearing these military clothes that I've never even seen them wearing. And then I go and explain it to my mom. And then she's like, but this happens to be my grandmother. She used to be in the military, or she used to wear my grandfather's military clothes. So anytime that I see that, to her, it's like, wow, this woman is coming back to you in the same clothes that she would sometimes wear of which belonged to my grandfather. So that connection does not come back to happen. It comes back to life. If you have been fortunate to be reintroduced to your ancestors, if you have been fortunate to have had all these rituals done for you as you are growing up, or just the acknowledgement that I have other people who came before me and they are more powerful than me and they can guard me. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be this what do you call it, these sacrifices of cows and goats. Just you acknowledging that they are there, they can just come back and be the light that you need in your life.
Wow. Well, believe it or not, we actually yeah. Sorry.
No, thank you, sis. That's excellent.
Thank you, brother.
We actually do have a question that was sent through the chat. Someone asked a question about voodoo, about what are some of the misconceptions of voodoo? Because, one of the things that we often hear about is, it's evil or they're possessing people. And in all honesty, in my view, I've always said that voodoo possession and the Holy Ghost are pretty much the same thing. Even though we demonize one and embrace the other, but I think it's, in all honesty, it's the same spirit, it's the same thing. But we've heard things like, if you do voodoo, it's going to lead to people being sick or people dying. Negativity can come from it. What are, I guess, some of the misconceptions that you've heard of voodoo? And what are some things that you feel that people should know about voodoo? So I guess we'll start with our brother High Chief, because you spoke earlier about the fact that you actually know a little bit about voodoo.
Like in anything, you have the duality.
Sure.
Now, like I said, the spirits that's in the voodoo is called the Loa. And the Loa are, from slavery. The spirits of the Loa just didn't come from Benin. Voodoo just didn't come from Benin. It also came from Congo, because all these different parts of Africa, they came to Haiti. You see the culture of Haiti, they all look different. In the Dominican, they have the 21 divisions, which is basically voodoo. But voodoo consists of all of them, all the spirits that you, when you initiate, you get. So the misconceptions of the religion is basically that, just like you can have good and bad in anything, but the possession is just basically the deities are coming through and they're communicating, and while they're communicating, the other initiated priest or another initiated godchildren, they're asking the deity questions to better their lives. Because since they're aspects of God or they're guardian angels, they know your future. They see where you can make mistakes in your life. So the possession comes in and the people are asking the person under possession, actually the actual spirit is on the person. So you're asking the person, the spirit, questions about your life. So it's not a spirit, it's not a possession that's bad, it's a possession that's good. But like I said, they use some, you have a duality. In the culture, you have voodoo, but you also have Sampuel. And Sampuel is the negative part of voodoo. And, like I said, you have duality, but the possession is a part of it that is really helpful. Because the spirit comes through and they talk through the person and you can ask the deity questions to help you in your life. Should I do this surgery? Should I buy this new car? Can you help me with a house? This is what you need to do. Things like that. So those are very helpful things. You know what I mean? Now it depends on people's views of life. Possession can look like, it's a bad thing. But people, like I said, I was raised Pentecostal, and people speak in tongues and people being possessed and dancing around is a common thing in the Pentecostal religion for me. Yeah. But, so my viewpoint is different, but, you have good and bad in anything, but the possession is a good thing. It's just misconceptions.
Oh, okay.
You got YouTube. You can look at a voodoo ceremony in Haiti on, you have the Gede. The Gede, you have the Wada spirits, you have the Nago, You have all these different sections of of course you got Papa Legba. So you have all these different deities that these spirits are here to help you. But sometimes when you're initiated, like rites of passage, certain things I can't really discuss on here, just like in Masonry. You gotta have rites of passage. So without going too deep, the possession is a good thing.
Yeah, okay. And Guru Zanelli, I don't know if you have anything on that or if you're
I can just add this. Not a religious expert, just my little opinion on this. I believe in it. I studied a lot. I had someone I called grandfather, but he was a dear friend from Benin, Africa, where voodoo actually, that's where the slave trade started with those who practice voodoo heavy in Benin, Africa, the Atlantic slave trade. That's what mostly you have in Haiti, right? From Benin, Africa. Okay, and I just say, watch this.
You're frozen, Jim. You might have that conspiracy Wi-Fi too. I don't know, bro. Yeah, Jim, we got you frozen. So while Jim gets reconnected, Zanelli and Guru, did you have anything on this?
Yeah, so I was saying, I'll take an example of a snake.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the Benin voodoo, you see them using snakes. And if you go to Christianity, they'll tell you snake is the devil. But in African spirituality, snake, for us, snake comes as a messenger and a wise messenger. Snake, our ancestors come in a form of snake. So if I saw a snake, instead of running to kill the snake, I'm supposed to give it some milk and say some words, like I've gotten your message. The next day, I'm supposed to go to a priest who's going to give me a message, and you find that it's a warning or something. But now, because of Christianity coming and telling us that snake is portrayed as a devil, we rush to kill the snakes. But if you go in any African spirituality, and I've looked at around 10, I will tell you snake is viewed as a very wise and a messenger of our ancestors. So that's one misconception, and I think there's a lot more when it comes to voodoo and other African spirituality. Like my brother is talking about the spirit coming into you and you becoming that spirit. So I also think that's a good thing, because that's how it's the spirit using you, the spirit of our ancestors using you to communicate to the people. So you become them for that small time, But the possession is not a bad thing. But now spirituality will tell us about now removing the devil or the spirit out of you. So those are, I think people are scared of those things because they don't understand them. But once you come to understand these things, you become free and you live freely.
Yeah, it's kind of like I know one of the things that I've always been taught growing up is, if you get bitten by a snake in your dream, that means that you have an enemy. And I know that that's something that I've always believed, because it usually turned out to be true. But that's just things that we were taught. So that I guess that's an aspect, our ancestors speaking to us through snakes.
Yeah. Actually, I had a friend who I went with sometime to a priest, and they were saying they used to dream about snakes all the time. Mm-hmm. And when they went there, they actually got the message.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And this was a dream, not now the physical coming of the snake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, wow. Auntie, I see you got your hand up.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
No,
hey.
How are you? I just believe that, the Western world has taken things to deter us from really knowing who we are as a people. They say when you hear the word voodoo, you think it's evil. Well, when you hear the word Christianity, how it is today, in God we trust, and all the evil and wicked things that are done, is that a God that you really would want to believe in? But I believe that God is, like you said, a higher power, that there is something greater than ourselves, and we have to learn these things now, because we were blinded by the way of the Western world. Not everything in Christianity is evil, because if you see it, like you said, the blood of Jesus, it's an energy. So there are things that are connected, but they don't want us to connect all the pieces, because then we would truly know our power and our light. That's why they keep us apart. That's why they don't want us to get together, because they want to blind us in the way that we really are supposed to move, because they know it. There are a lot of people that know it. Like they say, wolves in sheep's clothing. You know, there are a lot of people other than ourselves that know, because they study and they know what's going on. But because now they divide and they conquer. So that's my belief. God is who you want him to be in your life. And if you're a good person, then God is good. If you're a bad person, then you make whatever you choose that God to be for you. So like you said, duality, it's good and the evil, so that's it.
It's so true. I mean, it's so crazy, because if you talk to anybody nowadays, it's almost like we all have the feeling that something's not right here in this world. We all feel it. We know it. It's just it's not a thought anymore. It's okay, something's not right. This is not the way that things are supposed to be going. Something is off. But we also have a feeling that truth is coming. Like if you listen to a lot of people who talk about COVID, we talk about how, it was tragic, and it was. I'm pretty sure we've all lost people to it. But we've all said the world is, in a sense, resetting itself. If you ask anybody that, they all say the same thing, and I believe it. The world is being reset, and that's energetically. These are conversations that we've not had with each other, yet we all feel the same thing. So that tells us that it's something bigger than all of us that's connecting all of us. And we've just been taught not to embrace it.
Yeah, because we are destroying the planet.
Yeah.
So I felt like with the pandemic, it was a reset for the earth, because it kept everybody down. It kept all the things, the motors and the engines and everything that was destroying the earth. It was resetting it, because basically, like with the earthquakes, and like I was saying to you, the earthquakes and the different things that are going on, the earth is telling us, you're not treating me right. You're not taking care of me. So with the pandemic, it also taught people to become one, to remember family. We were hustling and bustling and going around, and we were not connected to each other. We were either out working, or we're on the internet, or we're doing this, or we're doing that. But when the pandemic came, it brought us all together. Now the world is opening up. Let's see how much people took what was shown to us and use what they learned. Or are they going to go back to what it was before?
One of the things that the pandemic also did is it forced us to slow down.
Yeah.
Because we were moving so quickly that we were missing things.
We didn't see anything. We couldn't see anything, even down to elections. You weren't looking at no election. You weren't voting. You weren't doing none of that. You weren't remembering what everything was like shut down. So now you were forced to stop and look. You were forced to stop and remember God, who he is, and what he means to you in your life and your family's life. You were stopped. And he said, peace, be still. That's, in Christian, it's peace, be still. You can't hear anything without being quiet. My mother always told me, if you want to hear something, be quiet. Stop. Listen. Even in your everyday lives, people go and they're talking, but people don't hear. But if you stop and you be quiet and you allow a person to talk, you're gonna hear everything you want to hear.
And all will be revealed.
Yes, it sure will. Yep.
And that's what's happening now. It's almost as if the world was forced to stop. and just be quiet and listen. And if you noticed, a lot of truth came out. So if you have people that were in bad marriages, they now got to see how bad that marriage was, because now they had to sit down and slow down and focus on what's actually happening.
And they
weren't
able to
able.
take care of their children.
Yeah,
children had to be taken care of. Then that's when you see who the real parents were. If they were like or if you know, you had to teach your children. Because now the education was up to you as a parent and not to the institution.
Yeah.
You know, so we learned a lot, but let's see how much we've taken in what we've learned, or are we just going to go back to whatever, you know?
It's something that someone said, even like when you talk about work, like hybrid working. The thing that I hear all the time is that we can't go back anymore. We can't go back to what it was. And I think that that's a microcosm of life. Once you've been enlightened, once you have information, once you've been taught, you can't go back. If you do, it hurts, because you're forcing yourself to do something that's not in line with, I guess, your goal or your spirit or your inner self. And I think that that's one of the things that's happening with African spirituality, is that information couldn't lie dormant forever. I'm not just talking about African, I'm talking about Native American. I'm talking about just reaching that higher level, you know, to quote the song from my favorite movie of all time, The Last Dragon. To reach the higher level, your mind, body, and soul must be one. It's a sacrifice that takes hard work, and it's a way of life.
We all have it. We're born with it. We're not cognizant of it because of the way the world has us right now. But we all have that higher power. We all live in that higher power, but we just don't tap into it. We're programmed to not be able to tap into it. And it's, you know, if you really think about it and you really look into it as a Black person, I can't talk about the other people, but if we tap into our high power and really believe and really look at things, we would be, it wouldn't even be a thing. You thought the Haitians defeated. You thought the Haitians defeated, and that's what they're terrified about. That's why they always try to wonder what makes us work. It's not black magic. It's just they know if we tap into what we have, man, please, it'll be a whole different story. And we're not a people of, you notice when we're not a people that, like, when things happen, the others, as I call them, they always want to attack. But we are people of love. We always say, you know, like, if things happen, if somebody does something out there in the world, and I always pray for their families, because their families are affected by this. And like you said, all your ancestors are not good. You know, they're not all good. They're not. You're not going to put that person on a pedestal. You know, when people say, "Oh, this person passed away," but how did they pass away? What were they doing when they passed away? Was it a good thing? You know, you can't praise everybody. You can't, you know, everybody does not rest in peace. Everybody does not rest in power because of what they did. You know, you have to live that life. We're not perfect, but we have to live the life because God is love across the board, you know, and again, the others, they make him, oh, we pray to him, oh, he's this, he's that, he's a good person. But at the same time, you use his name in vain, and you make it so that you put people in fear of him. And that's what a lot of people fear, you know, what they consider to be, you know, God in the higher realm.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Woo, we're we went in today. We went on overtime today, which is good. I enjoyed that. How many of y'all would like for me to do this again? Get the same folks on, go a little bit further with it. Okay. So if we can get the High Chief on and Guru and Zanele to come back on, we'll do it again.
It's great dialogue, man. I think it's good for all of us and for whoever views this that, it gets people's minds thinking.
Yeah. I agree. So before we head out, I know that we have a few different businesses to promote. Zanele and Guru, again, I know they have 8 million businesses, a lot of different shows. There was something else that Zanele posted, which I'm probably going to take her up on. Zanele also teaches learning languages. So you can contact them at 254-772-408-133. That's on WhatsApp. And they also have clothing, bags, and other materials that you can get shipped from Kenya, which can be found at Elegant Maasai, that's MAASAI.com/product-category/languages with Zanele. It's all in the chat, and I will ensure that it is on the comment section on the YouTube channel. And next time we'll have the YouTube channel working. I don't know what's going on with it, but we'll have it up and working next time. But
we should be on 30 minutes earlier or so to test that.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I promise you we will have it working next time. So does anyone else have any other business? Oh, Auntie Joso Fab. She has her Twitch channel, which can be found on Twitch under Joso Fab. She's doing music, conversation, even speaking with people in the UK, I believe, correct?
Yeah, I'm on a UK radio station, so I'm a DJ on there.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's infinityradio.uk. We're not up yet, but we'll be back up, so yeah.
Awesome. Please like and subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
My buddy S. Blanche, I don't know if you have any shows coming up. Before I give her a chance, I just want to let you know I went to her poetry jam a couple of months ago. It was dope. This mug I actually got from there. Oh, hang on. But you can't see it because of my background. But it's a mug. You just can't see it. So so sis S. Blanche, you have any shows coming up or anything to promote? Any events?
Yeah, I do. Just thank you for this. I appreciate both of y'all for talking. Thank you so much. And then can you drop yours in the chat so we'll have it when it pops back up.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you, sis. Yeah, we have an event coming up. The next one is March 15th. I'll drop it in the chat, but essentially it's a community that I created with a group of friends back during COVID in 2020. Freedom Tour is the company, and it's all about just uncovering these pathways to our freedom through our healing and knowing ourselves. And so that looks different from people. That's why I said Freedom Tour. Get on yours, right? But the Black Girl Collective hosted spaces for healing, in particular, intergenerational stuff, and just different series kind of just grew out of it. Right now in 23, we just started last week, Tracy? Yeah, last week, our relationship with rest and it being a divine right. As Black people on the diaspora, like that part taken from us. And so part 2 will be March 15th. I'll drop it in the chat if anybody wants to come through. They're free. It's about an hour, 15 minutes, and we just build community, love on each other, express, and that's what the whole thing is about. And we write together. You do not have to be a writer. Most of the people that come don't consider themselves writers per se, but that's one of the tools we use as we're like moving through our stuff together. So yeah, come please.
Awesome. Yeah, please put that in the chat so that people can like, subscribe. There we go. That was quick. So that people can like, subscribe, and support. And For those of you that are new and want to see previous episodes of the Fall to Rise podcast, I will put the link in the chat, but it is under Fall to Rise podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I'm trying to see if there's any other streaming services or any other ways to access it. We are working on a few things. The show will be going to various streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music. So we're going to have different things this season. I have several shows coming out this year. I can't really reveal too much information about them. One of them may be coming out in about 3 weeks. It's a show that I'm producing. I'm not on it, but I'm the executive producer of that. So that's another reason that I've been away, is because I've also been producing and writing a lot more than I have been actually hosting. So there's several shows that I'm either going to be hosting, producing, or directing that are coming out. I'm producing my first documentary on March 16th. Everyone will have information about that very, very soon. Again, you have the contact information. My series Inside the Man Cave is one that I can speak of. That is coming very soon. It is about the things that we as men struggle with, but cannot talk about publicly. So a few of you have actually heard the unreleased episode. I think Miss S. Blanche, she heard it. Miss Tracy, you heard it. Okay. So we've had a few people that have actually heard it. So we have future episodes of that coming up. And on this season of Inside the Man Cave, that feels weird. Sorry. On this season of the Fall to Rise podcast, we have a lot of things that we're working on, a lot of different topics. Like I said, monthly, we will be doing a show with Zanelle and Guru, and we try to get our brother High Chief on there as well. So we'll be doing that monthly. I have some topics coming on that I cannot speak on yet because I have to confirm the guests, but I do have a few new celebrities that are going to be on this year. I don't want to give the names up yet. So as we get closer, you'll start to see the flyers. And there is one that I forgot. My apologies. Queen Diva has several businesses that I've actually taken advantage of myself. She registers businesses. I have my LLC through her. We're working on a 501c3 with her. She has a upcoming kids pageant. Hopefully she can put a link out there, but I know that her company is called UBM. And she also has a magazine, a nonprofit, and a modeling agency. So as you can tell, Queen Diva's very, 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 very busy. So, we have the 501c3 through my lodge, and I'm also going to be building one through my production company, Mirror Productions, because one of the things that we're going to get into this year is I'm going to be donating a lot of supplies, whether it be school supplies, clothing, or other supplies to certain communities throughout the world. So as of right now, I'm planning on donating to Kenya, Uganda, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. Right now, we're just working on getting the shipping, which is really hard. So if anyone has any connections on shipping companies, please let me know. Or if you want to donate, please reach out to me. Most of you have my number. If you don't have my number, you can always email me at falltorisepod@gmail.com. Or you can contact me on one of the various social media sites, which are the Fall to Rise podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages. Before we leave, there's one thing that kind of came to me just by listening to everyone that I want to just leave everyone with. We're in essence being conditioned as a society to embrace the fake, the false. We are being taught to not believe in ourselves. We are being taught to eat fake food, to worship fake bodies, to worship fake celebrity. My charge to everyone here is to embrace what's real. Embrace what you can see. Embrace what you can hear. And more especially, embrace what you can feel. Because the actual truth and path that we need to move ourselves forward is already laid and it's already within us. We just have to listen and walk it. So once again, just want to say I thank everybody for coming out to this show. You have no idea how much I appreciate all of you. In all honesty, I wasn't even sure that I was going to come back. I wanted to, but I wasn't sure. And you all are reminders of why I do this show. So I really, really appreciate all of you, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. So we'll be back next week. We'll have flyers back out. This show will be on YouTube either today or tomorrow. Fingers crossed. And we'll see you all next week. All right, y'all. See y'all later. And
God
thanks
bless.
again.
Thank you.
God bless.
God bless. Thank you.
God bless. Thank you. Thank you.